Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Owlkids Books Picture Book Palooza panel, Community and Belonging. I am Dytria Ruddy, Marketing Coordinator, Promotion and Publicity, and I'm excited to be your host for this chat today. Before I introduce the panelists, I would like to acknowledge that our office in Toronto is located on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Wendat, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. We also acknowledge that the land Toronto sits on is covered by Treaty 13, known as a Toronto Purchase, signed by the Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaties, signed with multiple Mississauga and Chippewa bands. As publishers of children's books and magazines, we recognize our responsibility to educate our audience about the history and legacy of colonialism and its impact on Indigenous people. We are dedicated to working towards a just and equitable future. Now let me introduce our panelists and their books for today. Yewande Daniel-Ayoade is a management consultant and children's book author based in Calgary, Alberta. When she's not working or writing, Yewande spends her time baking, cooking, singing, and teaching Sunday school. Her writing focuses on introducing all children, including her own, to West African history and culture, which is shown in her recently released book. The Little Regent, illustrated by Ken Daly, published in March, tells the story of a little girl, Abioye, who becomes the village regent after the death of her father, the king. Overwhelmed by responsibility, Abioye engages with various citizens of the village to find ways to help them. The village flourishes under her service, and when the time comes to elect a new king, the villagers refuse any of the candidates put forth by the chiefs, insisting that young Abioye goes from being female regent to king of the village. Derek Mascarenhas is a graduate of the University of Toronto SCS Creative Writing Program and currently teaches there while working diligently on his books. Derek's first picture book, 100 Chapatis, was praised by Kirkus Reviews as warm and reassuring. His parents immigrated to Canada from Goa, India, which inspired the setting of his newest picture book. The Mango Monster, illustrated by Menika Repka, will publish on September 15th. It is a fun and imaginative mystery about two cousins trying to catch a mango thief. Marianne and Zoe are told by a neighbor that it could be a mango monster, and they decide to catch it in the act. They set all kinds of traps hoping to uncover the thief and end up with surprising results. It turns out Marianne's dad was sharing their mangoes with the community all along. Monique Leonardo Carlos is a homeschooling mom, a former classroom teacher, and a longtime collector of picture books based in Surrey, British Columbia. She believes that mindfulness and a shared language among family members are what make better conversations between adults and children. This belief, combined with her immigration journey from the Philippines, helped her shape her debut picture book. It's Okay, Just Ask, illustrated by Selena Pereira, will publish on October 15th. A little girl and her family are immigrating to a new country. As they say goodbye to their home and move to an unfamiliar place, the girl is full of questions. Will they ever return? What if she doesn't make new friends? Her mother's supportive refrain encourages her to voice her curiosity. It's okay, just ask. Each time the girl chooses to be brave and ask a question, she learns more about her community and herself. So I'll invite our wonderful panelists to join me on screen, and we'll get started with our interviews. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome. Thank you for coming today. I'll get us started nice and quick with our first question. Community comes in many forms, and these three books truly show that community is available in so many different ways. Yewande, you show the beauty of serving your community. Derek, you touch on giving back to your community. And Monique, you highlight finding your place in a new community. Can you each talk briefly about what inspired each of your stories? Yewande, we'll start with you since your book's already out.
Yeah, for sure. So this book was inspired by my kids. I'm a mom of 5, and my 3 youngest kids were going through a Disney phase where all they would watch on TV were shows about Disney princesses. And I remember watching them watch these shows one day and thinking to myself, I wish one of these princesses was African, and not just like African in origin, but having a story that's uniquely African as well. And so realizing that I really couldn't find any such story, and remembering this tradition of regency from my place of origin, where I'm from in Nigeria, I decided to write a story about it.
That's very cool. Everyone goes through their Disney phase,
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's a rite of passage.
Monique, how about you?
Well, I'm still on my Disney face. Really what inspired it is our journey to Canada. So we moved 8 years ago, and it's really, I think, just our immigration story and what my kids went through, what I was going through also as a parent, or even as an individual moving to a new country. And specifically around the time that I wrote the story it was during COVID. It was during the pandemic. And I remember just hearing in the news a lot about how, there were elderly Asians attacked in like public transportation or just in the streets. And I remember really crying, hearing those things. And I think just having that fear for my kids, especially because I still felt really new to the community at that time. And I didn't want them to grow up in a place where there was just so much, hate, in the community. And so yeah, that really inspired the story.
I mean, I love that you took such a negative thing going on in society and put it into such a positive, beautiful book. I think that'll be really, really important for kids to see. So that's lovely. Thank you. Derek, how about you?
Yeah, Monique and Yewande, your books sound amazing. I can't wait to read them. The spread's so cool as well. For my book, the inspiration was it kind of started as I have two young nephews, and they live in the suburbs. And when I come back from Toronto, I'd normally bring mangoes, and they would just devour them like as soon as they can. And so it started like with just like I was calling them like just mango monsters because they would just eat them. And something about that phrase, that mango monster, I guess like the alliteration of it, something it just stuck in my head. And like a story came out. And it was a long and winding path to this story. It took many forms, but I'm so glad how it turned out. It ended up being like a mystery type story. And yeah, that was kind of how it started.
That's so cute. Do they know that they're the inspiration behind the book?
Yeah. So I dedicated it to both of them and to all of the Bengal lovers out there. So,
Or that includes
Yeah.
me for sure.
Me too.
See, I'm very polarizing because I do not enjoy mangoes, and it's always
Oh no.
Oh, what?
this is the reaction I get. Yes, I know it's crazy, but more mangoes for you. So it's okay. I do love your
Maybe
book.
it's the
Does that
type.
make
Maybe it's the type of mangoes. We gotta get you some.
Yeah, you have
we'll
to
do a
try
mango
cooking
buffet.
too.
Yeah.
Great. Derek, we'll stay with you for a minute. The Mango Monster centers on a pair of cousins who are helped along by a friendly neighbor and have a very patient auntie who helps them build their traps. And the ending twist reveals Marianne's dad donates extra mangoes to the neighbors in the food bank. What made you use these familial and community relationships throughout this little bite-sized mystery story?
Yeah, again, the story it started off very different than it was now. And so it's a mystery, but then it also has community as well, because the sharing is such a big part of it. One of the spreads that I really really love is the so someone is stealing the mangoes, and originally the girls, there's that feeling of like, oh, we need to find out who is stealing them, like who is taking like our mangoes. And the girls see all of they through the course of the book, the girls see so many animals like eating the mangoes, and how much the mango tree provides to so many. And there's one spread in particular where Marianne is like looking up at the mango tree after so many animals have taken it, and it's still, the mango tree is still full of mangoes. And I just thought the illustrator Monique, she did such an amazing job overall. But even in that spread, like just her having this full mango tree even after so many people have taken. And the father at one point says like the mango tree gives and gives, so it's important for us to give too. So and the girls end up learning that lesson. I think it's difficult sometimes to put lessons in picture books without them coming across as it has to be natural in a picture book. And I think I feel in this one it worked just from the way the girls come to it on their own.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's a simple thing that kids will see and want to mimic, right? Like something as simple as putting your extra toys or books in a donation box and passing that on to someone. I think them being able to see that will be great. Plus, who doesn't love a tree full of mangoes other than me?
Yeah.
But very cool. For Monique and Yewande, you guys talk a lot about belonging in your book. A sense of belonging is rooted in a person's self-esteem. Both main characters in The Little Regent and It's Okay, Just Ask navigate a little bit of self-doubt as the story progresses, but eventually they overcome their uncertainty and they both end up learning new things, both about themselves and about the community that they're in. Of course, we're grown-ups, so we understand that process, right, of going somewhere new and learning to fit in. But did you find it difficult to write this experience from the perspective of a child and to show it in a way that would be digestible for kids? Monique, we'll start with you.
I didn't really think it was difficult because a lot of the conversations in the story are really based on the conversations that I had with my own kids. And also I think even when you're an adult, yes, you do understand the process of moving, but I think a lot of it is more superficial, like where are we going to live? What job are we going to have? But in the book, I really wanted to explore things that maybe a lot of immigrants don't get to think about, but affects them dearly, like the food that they miss from home, or just company, or and just the feeling of doubt of whether I'm going to see my family again or going to get to see my home country again, right? And I think it wasn't difficult for me to go back into that as well, because prior to our move, I think just as a person, I'm very I like reflecting and I like to do a lot of self-talk. So prior to moving, like every chance that I get, alone in the car, alone in the shower, I ask myself questions about how would you feel if this happened? Or, just trying to anticipate whatever emotions I will probably have moving to Canada. And I tried to really work through those emotions. So I don't think it was difficult because I think I was just really staying true to our real experiences and also just taking the time to really look inward.
The spread that's really sweet is when they're on the plane and the little girl sees that her mom looks upset. She has a confidence to ask, like, are you okay? And the mom is honest and says no. Like, even though you have a grown up and they look so strong and they look like they're able to handle everything. This book shows that everyone can go through a transition period, right? And we all need the support of everyone around us to go through it. So that spread's very sweet. My family immigrated too, so I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Yewande, how about you?
Yeah, so for me as well, I think it helped having kids around that age when I was writing this book, but also channeling my kids' experiences just with self-esteem in general. So I have a child who has severe social anxiety and has had to navigate that growing up. My son also is hearing impaired and also had sensory integration processing disorder. So lots of fine motor skill, gross motor skill challenges, but has now grown into a kid who like plays piano so beautifully and has a second degree black belt in Taekwondo. So basically watching my kids overcome some of their obstacles, I think helps me to be able to channel Abioye in her moments of self-doubt. And then having kids around that age allowed me to kind of think about how they would react and what they would say if they were in that situation.
Yeah, that's amazing for your kids. Wow, they sound
Yeah.
super cool. Very cool kids. Yeah, I think Abioye. What I love about Abioye is that even though she's young and the chiefs are doubting her, she observes and quietly like works through the process herself and comes up with these solutions on her own. So I think that's a
Absolutely.
beautiful thing.
I think even we as adults could benefit from doing that, I think more.
Exactly. Like sometimes not everything needs to be a conversation. At first, we can all just work through it and come with solutions to the table.
Yeah.
I love that about Abioye. It's very sweet. Our next question. It can be difficult to instill the importance of community and empathy towards other people in a society that sometimes feels individualistic. Monique, what you touched on during the COVID era when people were just being very mean towards each other, for lack of a better word. What do you hope young readers can take away from your book in terms of community and belonging? We can start with Derek. Oh, wait, you're muted.
Sorry, I knew it happened at least once. Yeah. For the you're speaking about community and engagement, right?
Yeah, and empathy, and how can
And
we kids
empathy.
learn?
I think going back to like what I spoke about earlier, it was that I wanted to show that shift between I guess more of a possessive, like everything is the girls and the manga, and more to a community-based thing where yeah, these we have access and like it's there to share and to provide. Beyond that, I think in terms of what I wanted to get across in the story, it's a mystery. It's a kind of it's like a whodunit. And like there aren't too many picture books like that. At least I haven't seen. So I wanted it to be fun. Like I wanted I've written other books with I guess more that tackle other subjects, but this one I really wanted to get that intrigue and have the kids kind of follow along and be questioning like who can't wait to turn to the next page to find out who's stealing the mangoes, what's going on, and having read the book to a couple of a few times to kids, they seem engaged because the Minika did such a great job of in like a bunch of the spreads there's a purple tail, and it almost becomes this like where's Waldo type thing where they're trying to find this tail and in every spread, and yeah, it just the way that the illustrator has brought their own vision to it's just wonderful. Yeah.
Was the tale your idea or Monica's idea?
No, I didn't like put in the I didn't say like in the notes where like, oh, there's gonna be a purple tail here, like in the, no, that was like all Minika. So yeah.
Very cool.
That's it.
Power of the illustrator, right? Like
Yeah.
they really bring a whole new dimension to your book. Great, thank you. We'll go over to Yewande.
When I wrote The Little Regent, it happened to be an election season. And I think one of the things that breaks my heart these days is that, our leaders, I think sometimes we celebrate the wrong character traits. And so when I wrote this book, I wanted to write it in a way that kids could see what true leadership looks like. So if they come away from this book just with a sense of knowing that a leader should show empathy, that they should care more about the people that they're leading than they do about their own goals and ambitions, then I think I'd have done my job. And my goal was to do that in a very kid-friendly way, where without, like Derek was saying earlier, without beating them over the head with it and being didactic, they can pick that message up just from the story. So hopefully I've done that with this book.
Yeah, and we're heading into another election time, so it'd be
Fun
extra
times.
yet again. And Monique.
Yeah, so I think what I really want, not just kids, but both kids and adults, so the adults that read these books with them, is for them to take away that there really are a lot of differences in the world. Like when you get out of your home, there are going to be a lot of things that are new to you, that are different from what you know. But then just as with the title, it's okay to wonder about them, and they can actually be really wonderful and beautiful things if you take the time to learn about them. And it's really and turning something, like maybe that experience of finding something new or something that you're not sure about can be a little bit scary or daunting, but again, just turning it into something positive, like, hey, it's an opportunity for me to learn about something new or to grow my brain or to grow my knowledge. And I think what also really stuck to me was one time when the kids and I were homeschooling about Sylvia Earle, who's an oceanographer. She said something that about ignorance, and she said that the biggest threat to oceans is ignorance. And my kids and I were just having this conversation around, yeah, even during COVID, I don't think, for the most part, nobody wants to be mean. Nobody wants to be unkind and hurt others intentionally, I think, for the most part, right? But I think when you're backed up and you're scared, just like during COVID, or this is all that you know, then that's all you have to work with, right? But I think it's what I would want them to take away is that listen in to yourself and the things that you're wondering about, and maybe give into that and just ask questions and learn about these things.
Yeah, definitely. Curiosity is one of our best traits as humans, there's never a bad question or a stupid question. Beautiful. We're gonna take it back a bit to young yous, so young Monique, young Yewande, young Derek. Back when you're little, do you have any memories of a specific community that you truly felt like you belonged to, and that maybe made an influenced who you are today as a person or a writer? We'll start with Yewande.
Yeah, I pretty much grew up in a really close-knit community. So my father worked as an engineer. He worked to help build the international airport in Lagos, Nigeria, where I grew up. And so there was a neighborhood where all the staff at the airport lived with their kids. So it was really close knit. Everybody knew everybody. I don't know how they did it because you worked with people and then you had to come home and see them too. But for us kids, like you could wander into anyone's houses because your parents knew them. In summer, we would basically leave the house in the morning and not show up till dinner time. So it was just a really strong and close knit community, and I really enjoyed growing up in that neighborhood.
Sounds beautiful. It's safe, right? The concept of
Yes,
safety is so important. Sounds like
yes,
you
it
had a
was.
good time.
Yeah,
Kids don't
it
do that
was
these
very
days.
fun.
I wish my younger sister would go out of the house in the morning and come back at dinner time, but
I wish I could let my kids wander. Sadly, it's a different time and place.
Monique, how about you?
I think it's my school community. So I went to a Chinese school from kindergarten to high school. And even if 95% of the kids there are Chinese and I am Filipino, my parents don't speak a word of Chinese, I never felt out of place. Like I am very grateful, having spent 12 years of my life there every day from 7 to 4, that is a huge part of who I am. And I think I'm very grateful that, my friends, even if their families, their grandparents spoke Chinese, when I'm in their house, I never felt like I didn't belong, and they would always welcome me. And even if they couldn't maybe speak to me in English or Tagalog or Filipino, that, my friends would translate it for me. My Chinese teacher, went out of her way when I was in kindergarten. She gave me a Chinese name because I didn't have one. And I think just by, the sheer variety of activities and clubs and opportunities that we had in school, like if I didn't do well in Chinese class, and I could do well in other things, and just having those opportunities to find myself in, like, a music club or a drama club, and again, just I think my friends and my teachers saw me for who I am and not for, the things that I couldn't do.
That's lovely. 12 years. Wow. Do you still keep in touch with anybody?
Yes, so we still have a chat group, and a lot of my friends from that school too are actually, a lot of them moved here too and immigrated here, so a lot of them are in Richmond,
Oh,
in Richmond,
that's
BC.
so cute.
Yeah, and so we still see each other a lot, but I still keep in touch with my friends back home.
Wow, lifelong friends. Beautiful. That's so sweet. And Derek.
Yeah, so my family's originally from Goa, India. But I growing up, I grew up in a very white suburb. And but one place that I did feel like a real connection and sense of community was we had these like go-in picnics every summer, and like throughout the summer. And that was one place that where, yeah, just everyone was, that sense of community was just there. Like it wasn't, you didn't have to you just felt it, and everyone was a cousin or aunt or uncle, even though they weren't related to you. And in this book, like I don't say that they're two cousins. I don't actually say whether they're related or not, but and yeah, you have like a neighbor. And in this story, there isn't a mom present, but you don't really like feel that, at least I don't think you feel that absence isn't there, just because there's a community there, right? So yeah, it has that like kind of, it takes a village type feeling to it.
Yeah, that's so sweet. The community within a community, like
Yeah.
sub-communities are so important. Especially in Canada, I feel like, there's like all the little country neighborhoods, little India, little Korea, so it's nice. All right, our last question. Do you have any advice for aspiring authors or illustrators? So you each have a little bit of a different perspective here. So Monique, you're a debut author. Your book's coming out soon. Do you have any hot tips that you can share with our audience?
Well, it's such a cliche, but it's really, never give up on your dreams. I mean, I have a list of what I call my faraway dreams, and I think having a children's book is a faraway dream because I never thought it would ever happen. I think in the Philippines, like when I go to the bookstores and I see Eric Carle books, and one book is more it would cost more than a minimum wage for a day. So I thought that could never happen, and I just didn't know how to navigate around how can I be an author, how can I even start. So I just like reading them and collecting them. And I remember when we moved here 8 years ago, one of the very first things that I did was Googled Canadian publishers. And then I looked at every website, and every website said that you can't submit without a literary agent. And that's why I say never give up, because honestly, for me, it was just like an overnight dream come true. During COVID, I was watching the news, seeing all that, Asian hate, and I thought there needs to be something good in this. And I don't know, I just again Googled Canadian publishers, and then I saw that a lot of you guys were open to submissions for BIPOC authors. But I saw it the day before the deadline. So I wrote the story that night and submitted it the day of the deadline. And so that's why for me, until now, we have these things, and it still doesn't feel so real to me, maybe until I see the book in the bookstores. But yeah, so I think my advice is to never give up. And even if you don't actively work on your dream all the time, but if it's in your heart, and I think again, even if I wrote that story overnight, it's my next step would be to always just stay true to who you are and stay true to what you feel is important and believe in, because then it will really just come across as real.
Wow, the universe was on your side that night. Something told you to Google that night, and here we are. Yewande, it's been a few months since your book came out, so for you it is real. You've had the book in your hand. What can you share about what's happened since release till now, or anything during your journey?
Yeah, and I have stalked every bookstore, going around taking random pictures of myself holding the book. I think for me, the key thing that I'll at this point out to writers is just don't forget that initial love of writing that you have. Because once your book is out there, there's so many other things that are important that we do, marketing and publicity and and awards and all those things are amazing. But it's important to just remember that even if you don't get any of these accolades, that you're writing these books because you have a dream, like Monique said, and because you have a love for writing and a desire to have kids hold your book and learn something and grow because they read it. And that's just important, so that you keep writing and you don't get discouraged if you don't meet all your great goals that you've set for yourself as a writer.
Your legacy's in paper now, so it's very cool.
Yes.
You can hold your legacy.
Yes.
And
Awesome.
Derek, this isn't your first rodeo, because you had your last book come out last fall with 100 Chapatis. Were there any adjustments between that process and this process, or have you learned anything between your books?
Yeah, I'd maybe start off by saying every single book is different, and you think it would get easier, but it sometimes doesn't. The 100 Chapatis, it was one of those odd, rare ones that there wasn't actually much changes or editing done to it. But this one, Mango Monster, it felt like it was kind of broken down and then built up like many times. So yeah, I definitely have to thank my editors, Debbie and Jennifer. So yeah, every book is different, but that perseverance, which Monique spoke to, is key. Like keep at it, and then too, I love Rwanda's answer as well about the not remembering the why are you writing this book, going back to that kid, like being told stories as a kid, and yeah, there's something magic in picture books. I think they're just so, because of that constraint of how short they are, that you really have to like condense it down to the essence of the story. And I feel, yeah, there's so much magic there, and too with the illustrator too, and like the combination of words and pictures. Yeah, it's just I love them, and so yeah, just keep at it and stay with the heart of the story. Like why are you writing this? What's the essence of it?
Beautiful. I love that. You have so many essences inside of you, so many stories to write for all three of you. That brings us to the end of our questions. So thank you to the three of you for joining me. Thank you to all our attendees for joining us. You can read and review today's books and more on Edelweiss and NetGalley. We have click-through links in our booth. And also don't forget to enter our giveaway to win these 3 books as well as the other books featured in our panels. Thank you to everyone and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.